Hello everyone, I'm going to be presenting about Joseph McCarthy and McCarthyism. What is it? How was he? Why is it important? Why is he important? And what does it have to do with justice today? So who is Joseph McCarthy? McCarthy was born in November 14th of 1908 and he died on May 2nd of 1957. He was one of 9 children, and because of that, he had to drop out of middle school at the age of 14 to help to sustain the family farm. At the age of 20, he enrolled in Little Wolf High School in Minawa, Wisconsin, and he was able to finish it in 1 year. He obtained his law degree in 1935 and was admitted to the bar the same year. In 1936, he moved to Shawano, Wisconsin, and between the years of 1942 and 1945, he served in the U.S. Marines and resigned as a lieutenant. While he was in the Marines, he ran unsuccessfully for the Democrat nomination for the U.S. Senate. However, after losing the district attorney position by a landslide, he joined the Republican Party. In 1939, he won the position of circuit court judge, but with very dirty practices. Why do you think he was in prison? So when he was running for senator in 1946, he ran against Robert Lafayette Jr. You may be asking yourself, who is Robert Lafayette Jr.? He is the son of Robert Lafayette, who also worked in the U.S. Senate. And while he was running, McCarthy used propaganda and accusations to hurt Fayette's case. He claimed that Fayette refused to join the army, even though Fayette was 46 years old and he was too late to join the army. These accusations damaged Fayette's chances of winning greatly and led to McCarthy winning the seat. For McCarthy, he used the communist fears that we had happening not only in America but around the world. McCarthy's first 2 years in the Senate were rather forgettable. Fearing he will not get re-elected, McCarthy used these fears for his advantages. So around this time, even Professor Majesty talked a little bit about at the end of his mini lecture video in session 9, and how one of his law professors, George Anastaplo, when he was being interviewed to become a lawyer during the beginning of the McCarthy era, people were losing their First Amendment, which is being able to choose any political party that you like. They were being restricted of it. So they were the lawyer, or the future lawyer, the professor, Anastaplo, was being asked questions by other lawyers in order to know if he was either anti or pro-communist. Being this said, McCarthy in 1950 produced a list of 205 State Department workers that supposedly were communists. He never mentioned any of these names during his Senate terms, and many of those people were later proven not to be communists. This shocked a lot of people and made him gain some populism. Like said before, his accusations were proved untrue, and eventually he was censured by the Senate after many people having enough of his witch hunts and unnecessary imprisonments. This led to the McCarthyism or McCarthy era, which is the fear of communism arising after World War II, and is also when people make false accusations with poor judgment and not enough resources to back up their accusations. Unfortunately, after World War II ended, events at home and abroad seemed to many Americans to prove that their red menace or the red scare was real, which is the communism. I hope you saw the lectures or the videos of previous presentations by Lario Mio and Caleb Portillo, so you have an idea of what communism is and how it affects not only not, it didn't only affect back then, but it also affects today's way that ways that we view politics. So also in 1950, North Korea's Soviet-backed army invaded its pro-Western neighbors to the south in response to US entered a conflict on the side of South Korea. So we were really worried that after Nagasaki and Hiroshima bombs, technology and sciences were going to do the same thing that we did to them to us. So eventually McCarthy became the chairman of the government committee on operations of the Senate, and he used his powers to investigate communism in the government. So this is when many artists in the 1930s, teachers, writers, and scholars started to think that the communism approach to the economy has some virtues. However, McCarthy thought differently. He thought that he began to find spies and supporters of communism, and he, among others, feared that of an attack running high in America. So these liberal-minded Americans started to share their opinions, and they were being accused of being anti-American, when in reality they were only stating the problems with capitalism. Later, when McCarthy was in full swing, these people were brought to court on accusation of being anti-American and working with the Soviets to bring forth the ruin of our government and nation. And once these people were labeled as being anti-American, it was hard for them to find a job because they were already blacklisted. So this era became relevant because he took advantage of his power by making so many accusations and doing witch hunts, as stated before. But America in the 1953 had already enough of McCarthy when he made allegations that the U.S. Army had some affiliations with the Communist Party. So that's why he began Army McCarthy hearings in 1954, and they were televised hearings. As a result of the hearings, his solid point of order phrase became a national cliche, and members of the subcommittee became household names and faces. The Army McCarthy hearings live in the memories of millions of Americans. Finally, the public saw that McCarthy was a fraud, and in December of 1954, he lost his position of chairman of the Government Committee on Operation of the Senate. So what takeaways can we take from McCarthy and McCarthyism? Basically, McCarthyism was making false accusations without hard evidence and poor judgment, which nowadays we can see that on the kind of government that we have now, not only because it's run by Republicans or by the Republican, which is the president, but also because when he was running as a president, he made false allegations against minorities such as Mexicans, women, and people of color, even Muslims. So I just want you to think about how McCarthyism is similar to the Crucible, that's also by Miller, which will be an interesting thing for you to research or follow on, and how McCarthyism is being implemented in today's politics. That's all for tonight. Thank you.